Hello and welcome back to Alex Talks About Movies. Today we're going to talk about the Transformers franchise, which I thrive upon. If you haven't noticed, my whole channel is fucking Transformers related. So we're gonna go on that and get this started with the very first Transformers movie, which came out in 2007. July 3rd, 2007 to be precise. And it was directed by Michael Bay. No one really likes Michael Bay, because fuck Michael Bay. It was written by Alex Kurtzman, which is part of the reason why it was so good. He did help write the second one, and I just hit my knee on my desk and it really hurt. But then we also had Aaron Kruger in the second one, which made the plotline go all over the place. Because you had three writers, right? At least with the third one, you only had one writer. Same with the fourth one. Honestly, I never thought we'd get here, where we're talking about 5 Transformers movies, and yes, I'm only talking about 5, and not 6, because Bumblebee is not part of the same plotline. So, the movie starts off in Iraq, where we meet Major or Sergeant Lennox, or whatever rank he was. He always ranks up in the new movies. So, first we open up on the Allspark, and we have Optimus Prime and his amazing dialogue. Before at the end, there was the Cube, and that doesn't make any fucking sense. So, like, the Autobots don't come in until about an hour into the movie. And the movie is 2 hours. And it starts off with the Allspark Cube and Optimus Prime. He's talking about the Allspark. He's talking about how the war started. And then we're just going to go off. And Steven Spielberg's also the executive producer of the film. And it was great. Because we have 4 Autobots against 4 Decepticons. There's 5 Autobots, isn't there? Jazz, Ironhide, Ratchet, Bumblebee, and Optimus. Yeah, there's 5. And then for the Decepticons, you got Megatron, Starscream, Blackout, Scorponok. Scorponok doesn't count. Bone Crusher, Barricade. Okay, there's way more Decepticons than I thought. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each individual character within the robot's standpoint. And then, we have Optimus Prime, the leader of the Autobots. He is voiced by Peter Cullen, and he's voiced Optimus Prime since 1986, when the Transformers the movie came out. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's Coca-Cola. No, this video is not sponsored. And he transforms into a Peterbilt 379 crew cab, so with a flame decal on it. And then you have, the regular Optimus Prime origin story, where he was promoted from Orion Pax to Optimus Prime after obtaining the Matrix of Leadership, which I actually have a big thing to point out here. If Optimus Prime did not have the Matrix, like Revenge of the Fallen says he doesn't, how is he a Prime? He's not a Prime if he doesn't have the Matrix. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And now we're going to talk about his arch rival, Megatron. He was voiced by Hugo Weaving in the first movie, and the third and second one. And he's the tyrannical leader of the Decepticons. And Optimus is always willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, but Megatron is not willing to do those things, and he just wants to get it done and over with, kill everyone in sight, and that would be the end of that. He does go through an evolutionary timeline, which I will have a bunch of pictures up on the screen to show that within the 5 movies. In the 4th one, he does not make an appearance. I really wish he did. But we can't all get what we want now, can we? Next is Starscream, our favorite Dorito. Favorite Dorito-shaped Decepticon, and it's one thing that always disappointed me about Starscream in the movies is that he never tries to usurp Megatron, ever. He always just grovels at his feet. Starscream never does that. Starscream's always the one that is trying to usurp Megatron, trying to kill him and take his place as leader and whatnot. But he never did that in the movies, and that really disappoints me. Oh shit. I am opening tabs here. Send Starscream. Oh, forgot to mention one thing. Megatron's jet mode in the first movie is really cool. Like, super cool how they integrated the Cybertronian jet form as his primary vehicle mode. He does not obtain a Earth-based vehicle mode until the 3rd movie, which I'm still not completely sure why that is. I never did my research yet, so. But Starscream, he turns into a Lockheed F-22 Martin Raptor or something. Next, we have the Bumblebee, everyone's favorite Autobot for some reason. I'm not completely sure why he's everyone's favorite Autobot, but I'll just let it be what it is. Everyone thinks that the voice at the end of the first movie is his actual voice. It's not. He simply used a radio frequency and mimicked someone's voice to talk as though, you know. And at the start of the film, he is a 1977 Camaro, and then a 5th generation Camaro, which was the 2010 model, which is my favorite model, and that's really cool. Next, everyone's favorite character, Ironhide. Ironhide is gruff, grumpy, and aggressive, and he prefers to take action rather than words. However, despite his gruff nature, he's still very kind and loyal to his friends, especially Optimus Prime. and he transforms into a GMC Top Kick, I think in 2000, the last model they ever made of that vehicle. So he's really cool. I've always loved Ironhide, which it was a shame when they killed him in the third movie, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Which I just recently got myself a version of the Masterpiece movie Ironhide, which is, I think, my least favorite Ironhide figure, honestly. I must say. That's not just me being a fucking asshole. That's just me saying how it is. Like, it's kind of horrible. Next up is everyone's favorite Autobot medic. Actually, the only Autobot medic. And he turns into a Hummer ambulance. I really have to sneeze. I will take that out in post. And he's very loyal to Optimus, and for some reason he has two thumbs. Like, if you look at a picture of Ratchet, he's got two thumbs. Not quite entirely sure why that is. Like, why give him two thumbs? Next up is Bone Crusher, which I always thought he was really cool. His fight scene with Optimus in the movie really takes you to think that Optimus is going to have a high kill count by the end of the movie. I really wish that the movie would have ended the way everyone thought it was going to. But like the way that the game ended, everyone was hoping for that, and no one got that. And I really wish we did, because that would have been super awesome if we'd have gotten that. But the part of it that I love is that I don't really, even that last fight scene with Megatron at the end of the movie, it didn't really stack up the way anyone wanted it to. Optimus is just like a really big pushover. Like, he just got pushed around by everyone, and no one liked that. Not one person liked that. And that was... Now, he ain't such a pushover. He's the one with the highest kill count. Next, we're going to talk about Sector 7. Those scummy bastards. You know, the only other ones that make the appearance only in the first movie, and that's about it. But I do love, my other favorite scene is the Arrival to Earth scene. Because if you get that scene, the music in that scene is absolutely amazing. If you don't get that scene, then, well shit, you just haven't lived. Okay, we're gonna move on. The next film in the series of films, I guess, is Revenge of the Fallen. And I actually really liked Revenge of the Fallen, not gonna lie, even though they do kill Optimus. But I'm going to read you an excerpt off of the wiki here. 2 years after the Battle of Mission City, the Autobots and a joint task force of the U.S. military and British Armed Forces have formed a non-biological extraterrestrial species treaty, NEST, a classified international task force meant to eliminate the remaining Decepticons who are hunting the Autobots. During a fight with them in Shanghai, a Decepticon informs them of the return of the Fallen, a prime from 17,000 BC. Back then, the piece of the Fallen tried to destroy the star of a planet that sustained life to make a star-absorbing machine known as the Star Harvester. I'm correcting the wiki right now. It is not a sun harvester, it is called a star harvester. On Earth, but was imprisoned for it by the other 6 primes, the Decepticons steal the last known piece of the Allspark from the Navy base and use it to resurrect Megatron's body. Megatron is then directed by second in command, Starscream, to his master, the Fallen, to capture Sam Witwicky alive and kill Optimus, which he does. Meanwhile, Sam, now a college student, has been seeing Cybertronian symbols since holding a smaller Allspark shard in his hoodie. According to Megatron, the symbols will lead the Decepticons to a new energon source. The shard tries to kill Sam and his parents, which Bumblebee stops, which I'll explain more on that in a minute. Actually, I'll explain more on that right now, because I'll probably forget. The shard somehow phases through the floor. It doesn't phase through the floor, it burns through the floor, but not the kitchen table. Then it sends a shockwave through the kitchen, animating all of the kitchen appliances within the house. And that's what Bumblebee destroys. So, let's start on. Let's continue reading. Sam gives the shard to his girlfriend, Michaela Baines, played by hottest chick in the world of Megan Fox, who later captures the Decepticon Wheelie as he attempts to steal it. Sam, his roommate Leo, and Michaela captured by the Decepticon Grinder before Optimus and Bumblebee rescue them. The Decepticons then kill Optimus and launch devastating simultaneous attacks around the world. The Fallen hijacks Earth's telecommunication systems, demanding that Sam be handed over to him. Sam, Michaela, and Leo then find alien expert and former Sector 7 agent Robo-Warrior Seymour Simmons, which, yes, he is from the first movie. He's the only other character besides the Transformers in the military and Sam Michaela that carried over, who reveals the Transformers visited Earth eons ago, and the most ancient, known as the Seekers, remain hidden on Earth. With help from Wheelie, they track down an elderly Decepticon turned Autobot seeker named Jetfire at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. They used their shard to revive Jetfire, which he didn't need to be revived. I don't know why they didn't use that shard to revive Optimus all that time. But hey, let's just go on from here. Who teleports the group to Egypt, along with Jetfire, Wheelie sides with the Autobots, and Jetfire sends them to locate the Matrix of Leadership, which Optimus should already have, which could be used to activate the Star Harvester and revive Optimus as well. The group then finds the Matrix of Leadership, whom the Primes that punished the Fallen sacrificed to themselves to hide in Petra, but it disintegrates into dust. Meanwhile, Nest forces and the Autobots land near the Giza Pyramid complex and are attacked by the Decepticons. The Constructicons combine to form Devastator, who destroys one of the pyramids to reveal the Star Harvester. A majority of the Decepticons are killed, mostly with a Navy airstrike, but not before Megatron kills Sam. Then the Primes speak to Sam through a vision, saying that the Matrix must be earned and not found, and that he now earned the right to bear it. Oh, hang on. Now that he has earned the right to bear it for fighting for Optimus, they revive Sam. They grant him the Matrix, which he uses to revive Optimus. The Fallen steals the Matrix from a weak Optimus and uses it to activate the Star Harvester. After Jetfire sacrifices himself to allow his parts to be transplanted to Optimus, Optimus destroys the Harvester and kills the Fallen, although Megatron retreats to Starscream incapacitated. The Autobots and their allies then return to the United States, and Leo and Sam return to college. And that is how that goes. Now, do I like this movie? Yes. Do I like that they kill Optimus? Absolutely not. I fucking cried in the theater when I went to see this, and I went with my grandmother, okay? Don't fucking judge me. I went to see this movie with my Grammy. But they do introduce some brand new characters, being Sideswipe and Jetfire and the Fallen, and racist twins, Skids and Mudflap, which I'll elaborate more on them in a fucking minute. So, how this movie decides to go, like the way it decides to go in, is the Decepticons have essentially won and the Autobots have given up. But they haven't given up, you see, because Ironhide now believes in Optimus's motives. But Ironhide is not the one doubting Optimus's methods. It is Ratchet instead. And it took Ironhide telling Ratchet that that's not what Optimus would want, because Ratchet wanted to leave the planet. He just wanted to up and dip, like just wanted out of there. And he straight destroyed shit, bro. I'm currently watching the movie as I'm recording this voice files, because it makes it easier on me, eh? I'm at the Demolisher death part, which, good on him. And I did the same thing for the first one also. I'll do the same thing for the rest, as I have them all on my phone here, which is what I'm using to record. So, we are now at the interrogation part. Any last words? He talks about the Fallen. Not today. Boom, blows the head off. The one thing I would like to add on is Alice. I want to talk about Alice for a minute. She's a pretender, which this is the first and only movie that elaborates on pretenders. Which when I first saw this movie, I was like, hey, if they could turn into humans, why don't they all do that? But now I know that they all can't turn into humans. I was also fucking like, when did this movie come out? 2009? I was only 8 years old. I forgot to comment on the soundtrack in the first, when I was talking about the first movie. Steve Jablonsky did a really good job on the soundtrack. Like, real props to him, man. Devastator. Now I want to talk about Devastator, because it's the only movie he's in. I didn't think he'd be a quadruped. I thought he'd be a biped. I thought he'd walk on 2 legs. But I was wrong on that one. I do strongly believe that all of these movies focus on the humans way too much. But there's one line that Megatron says that always fucked with me. And that's Megatron telling Starscream that even in death there is no command but his. And then he immediately goes and grovels at the Fallen's feet, implying that it's not that way. But the way they kill Optimus, they had to like ambush him like straight up. Like if the rest of the Autobots were there, I'm pretty sure Optimus would have been alive. Like straight up. The way they did it was a little preposterous. Well, let's just go from there. And also, one of my favorite scenes, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but it gives you the best human side of Optimus, and that's the graveyard scene, when he's talking to Sam at the graveyard. And there's only one other way that that's going to go down, and that's by being... Because he gets more and more human as we go. Does he have like no emotion in the first movie? But he gets more and more angry as time goes on, which is giving him this lust for Energon and this blood fury of carnage that he just wrecks people, dude. Also, Tom Kenny's in these movies. I didn't know that. But I suppose I also like that they brought in Chromia and Elita 1, but I didn't like that they killed them in this movie. I really didn't. And also, this was a movie that was supposed to feature the Dinobots. Believe it or not. And I think we can move on to Dark of the Moon. And we're gonna move on to Dark of the Moon. Let me just get the page. insert. And yes, again, I am watching the film. In 1961, the Ark, a Cybertronian spacecraft carrying the invention capable of ending the war between the benevolent Autobots and the malevolent Decepticons, crash lands on the dark side of Earth's moon. The crash is detected on Earth by NASA. President John F. Kennedy authorizes a mission to put a man on the moon as a cover for investigating the spacecraft in 1969. The crew of Apollo 11 lands on the moon and secretly inspect the Ark before heading home. President Richard Nixon orders them to keep the details of this mission secret. In the present day, after 3 years after the Autobots assist the U.S. military in preventing major conflicts around the globe. During a mission to Chernobyl, Ukraine, site of the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear disaster, to investigate suspected alien technology, the Autobots are attacked by Decepticon scientist Shockwave and his giant worm driller. After the two escape, Optimus Prime finds the technology is a fuel cell from the Ark, discovering it had survived its escape from Cybertron. After learning of the top secret mission to the moon, the Autobots travel there to explore the Ark. They discover a comatose Sentinel Prime. Optimus' predecessor as leader of the Autobots, and 5 pillars he created as a means of establishing a space bridge between 2 points to teleport matter. After returning to Earth, Optimus uses the energy of this matrix of leadership to revive Sentinel Prime. Meanwhile, Sam, or Vicky, is frustrated that he is unable to work with the Autobots or find a job. He also becomes envious close relationship between his new girlfriend, Carly Spencer, and her new boss, Dylan, who is putting by the fucking same guy in Grey's Anatomy. And yes, Carly Spencer is victorious. After finding work, Sam is provided information by his eccentric co-worker, Jerry Wang, about the Ark. Before Jerry is assassinated by the Decepticon Laserbeak, Sam contacts the now independently wealthy Sector 7 agent Seymour Simmons. And together they realize the Decepticons and their leader Megatron are murdering people connected to the American and Soviet space missions to the Ark. They locate 2 surviving cosmonauts, who reveal satellite photos of hundreds of pillars being stockpiled on the moon. Sam realizes that the Decepticons raided the Ark long before the Apollo 11 mission to the moon, and intentionally left in Sentinel Prime and 5 pillars for the Autobots to find. As Sentinel is the key to activating the pillars, the Decepticons lack the means to revive him. The Autobots fight off 3 pursuing Decepticons known together as the Dreads. Rush to return Sentinel to their base before protection, but Sentinel betrays them before murders Ironhide, revealing that he had made a deal with Megatron to ensure Cybertron's survival. Sentinel uses the pillars to transport hundreds of concealed Decepticons from the moon to Earth. Dylan is revealed to be in service of the Decepticons after he captures Carly with the help of Soundwave, who has been masquerading as a Mercedes-Benz SLS-AMG, gifted to Carly by Dylan. The Autobots are exiled from Earth at the demand of the Decepticons to avoid war. But as their ship leaves Earth, it is destroyed by Starscream, seemingly killing the Autobots. The Decepticons, led by Megatron and Sentinel, invade Chicago as they place pillars around the world. Dylan reveals to Carly the Decepticons' true plan to transport their home world, Cybertron, to the solar system, and then use Earth's resources to rebuild their world. Sam teams up with former U.S. Air Force Chief Robert Epps, who earned that paycheck kind of recently, and several ex-S soldiers to go into Chicago to save Carly and Wes Dillon, but they are nearly killed by Decepticon forces before the Autobots intervene, revealing that they concealed themselves during the launch of their ship to convince the Decepticons that they were destroyed. The Autobots, along with several ex-Rangers and Navy SEALs, managed to rescue Carly and begin fighting off the Decepticons. During the battle, Soundwave and Barricade managed to temporarily incapacitate and capture a few Autobots, killing Q. However, the miniature Autobots wielding brains sabotaged the Decepticon ship, creating a distraction and allowing the Autobots to escape. With Bumblebee killing Soundwave in the process, many other Decepticons were also killed during the battle, including Laserbeak, the Driller, Starscream, and Shockwave, and Optimus using Shockwave's arm cannon to shoot down the control pillar, disabling the space bridge. An enraged Sentinel jumps down from the control tower to confront Optimus. Sam and Dylan fight as the latter reactivates the control pillar, but Sam manages to knock him into the pillar, electrocuting and killing him as punishment for his treason. Bumblebee and Ratchet arrive to destroy the control pillar, permanently disabling the bridge and causing the partially transported Cybertron to implode. Becoming badly damaged, Optimus and Sentinel fighting while Carly convinces Megatron that he will be replaced by Sentinel as leader of the Decepticons. Goading him back into action, Sentinel gains the upper hand against Optimus after severing his right arm, but is incapacitated by Megatron before he can land the killing blow. Wishing to reclaim leadership of the Decepticons, Megatron proposes a truce, but Optimus, knowing he cannot be trusted, refuses and decapitates him. Sentinel pleads for his life, but Optimus executes him for his betrayal. With all Decepticons finally defeated and the war finally ended, Carly and Sam are reunited, and the Autobots, knowing that Cybertron is badly damaged beyond repair, remain on Earth still, making it their permanent home. That's a way to fucking start up a story. God damn. I can only read like that for so long. But yes, Carly did have to goad Megatron into coming back into the battle. Because he was just he's just everyone's bitch now. You see, because the first movie, they could elaborate on Megatron. They couldn't never do that in the other films because he's not the main plot point. Yes, he got that killing blow on Optimus. And yes, he did fucking beat the shit out of Sentinel. But it took a lot of help to get him there. And Megatron knows this. That's why when he's remade by Quintessa, he's nobody's bitch now. Except Quintessa's bitch, but you know. Quintessa's not doing what the rest of them are doing. He's always a secondary antagonist when he's always supposed to be the primary antagonist of Optimus Prime. And that leads me to Optimus Prime. And he always needs help, no matter what the situation is. The battle could be going his way. And then he chokes and lets loose. And I only 5 separate fights for the soldiers. Actually, only 4. In the first movie, when he's fighting Megatron. In the second movie, when he's fighting the Fallen, he needed help from Jetfire. Oh, I never gave the example for the first one. The first movie, when he's fighting Megatron, he needed Sam to put the cube in Megatron's chest. In the third movie, against Sentinel, he needed help from guess who? Megatron. To defeat Sentinel and killing Megatron in the process, but we're gonna get there later. And in Transformers 4, against Lockdown, he needed help from Bumblebee, Cade, what was her name? Tessa and Shane to get the killing blow on Lockdown. And the only reason Optimus came back to his senses in the first place in Transformers 5 was because of Bumblebee. There you go, 5 examples. And again, props to Steve Jablonsky for doing the soundtrack for the film. I'm pretty sure someone else did the soundtrack for Transformers 4. Because it's not the same soundtrack, it's like a completely different soundtrack. But that's not the point here. The point here is that the movies focus too much on the humans and Sam's relationship issues instead of fucking Transformers beating the shit out of each other. Let's move on to Transformers 4.
You want to see why I had to betray you. You didn't betray me. You betrayed yourself. No, Optimus!
And now I guess we can move on to Transformers 4, Age of Extinction. And Age of Extinction was meh. It wasn't one of my personal favorites, but I could see where it gets its praise from. It's the first movie that introduced the goddamn Dinobots, okay? And the Dinobots, pretty fucking cool. So like I did with the first 3 films, I am going to do it again, reading the plotline, and then giving my own personal opinion on things. 60. Fucking neat. Let's start. 65 million years ago, an alien race known as the Creators used devices called seeds to cover Earth with an alloy that will one day be called Transformium, wiping out the dinosaurs in the process. In the present day, geologist Darcy Tyrrell, or Tyrrell, or T-I-R-R-L-E-L, Tyrrell, excavates the Transformium for KSI Industries, who use it to build Transformer drones. 5 years after the invasion of Chicago, the people have started to view the Transformers as public enemies of the state. Though the public believes that the Autobots were granted sanctuary, they are in fact hunted down by a rogue CIA Black Ops division cemetery wing, led by an opportunistic rogue intelligence operative Harold Attinger, who believes that all Transformers should be exterminated regardless of their faction. They are aided by Lockdown, a Cybertronian bounty hunter working for the Creators, promising to give Attinger a seed if his division manages to capture Optimus Prime. Lockdown locates and kills Ratchet when he refuses to give up the whereabouts of Optimus Prime. Optimus, damaged in Mexico City and disguised as an old Marvin 97 semi-truck, is discovered by Cade Yeager, a financially struggling Texan inventor. While his teenage daughter Tessa and business partner Lucas Flannery encourage him to turn Optimus over to the authorities, faces Optimus, hoping to understand his technology. Still skeptical of Optimus, Lucas calls James Savoy, who has hated Transformers for the death of his sister in Chicago, along with Cemetery Wind, who attacks the Jaeger farm, but Optimus and humans. Oh fuck, I fucked up. But Optimus and Tessa's secret boyfriend, Irish rally car driver Shane Dyson, come to the family's aid. During the pursuit, Lucas is killed by one of Lockdown's grenades. Optimus summons the surviving Autobots, Bumblebee, Hound, Drift, and Crosshairs, who have come to distrust humans. Using a stolen CIA drone, Cade discovers KSI's involvement in the attack on the Autobots. Infiltrating KSI's headquarters in Chicago, Cade discovers the dead Autobots and Decepticons are being melted down to make the drones. Joshua Joyce, the ambitious company CEO, is in league with Attinger to revolutionize global defenses and improve human society using the seed. He has also used the captured brains and Megatron's head to create a prototype Transformer soldiers. Galvatron and Stinger. Despite Joshua wanting Galvatron to look more like Optimus, the finished Galvatron resembles Megatron. The Autobots storm the building and destroy the laboratory, but they soon leave after Joshua announces that they are no longer required. Attinger forces Joshua to deploy the destructive Galvatron to capture the Autobot terrorists. During the battle, Galvatron's behavior becomes slightly erratic when it starts destroying vehicles, but Joshua manages to redirect it to target the Autobots. As Galvatron battles Optimus, it gets autonomously freed from control, surprising Joshua. Suddenly, Lockdown arrives and soon abducts both Optimus and Tessa, leaving Cade and Shane devastated. While Lockdown's large prison spacecraft hovers over Chicago to hand over the seed, Cade, Shane, and the Autobots sneak on board to rescue Optimus and Tessa. They hijack a smaller ship containing a number of other Autobots called the Dinobots. Just before Lockdown leaves Earth, the Autobots reveal to Cade that Galvatron is in fact Megatron reincarnated, plotting to use the seed and the Transformer drones to conquer the world, starting with Hong Kong, as KSI plans to use the seed in the Mongolian desert to create vast amounts of usable transforming. Cade informs Joshua, causing him to have a change of heart, and agrees to hand over the seed. With help from Darcy and his Chinese business associate Su Yuming, Galvatron reactivates himself and a battle follows in Hong Kong streets between the Autobots, Cemetery Wind, and the drones. During the fight, Cade Yeager sends James Savoy plummeting to death, while Optimus frees the Dinobots and wins their allegiance through trial by combat, and they become essential to the Autobots' victory. Lockdown returns to capture Optimus and the Dinobots, using a large magnet to cause destruction. After disabling the magnet, Optimus fights Lockdown at an abandoned factory. In the ensuing duel, Optimus kills Attinger, but the distraction allows Optimus to pin Optimus down with his own sword. Cade ends up fighting Lockdown one-on-one while Tessa and Shane free Optimus, who destroys Lockdown. Galvatron retreats back into eternity. Optimus asks the Autobots to protect the Jaegers before flying away into space with the seed, sending a message to the creators that he is coming for them. That's a way to put a movie, dude. Like, this was a good movie. There's just a part of me that wishes that these movies didn't have to be so fucking long, eh? Like, they could easily wrap this up in an hour and a half, but they want to get more robot fight stuff in there. And one of my favorite scenes is the presence of Megatron scene and Optimus claiming the sword for himself. Sword of Judgment, I do believe it's called. And claiming the Dinobots' trust for himself as he leads them into the streets of Hong Kong. That's the way I pictured the film going. I didn't think they'd actually go there. I actually didn't even think the Dinobots were going to be in this movie at all. I'm kind of glad they were. When I saw the trailers with the Dinobots, it's like, okay, they're there, but are they actually going to be there for the film? Which they very much were. And Optimus is alive. I cared for the first 15 minutes of the film. I legit thought Optimus was dead. But then you see the truck. And that truck, they don't just focus on this truck for nothing. That truck is obviously Optimus Prime. Hey, it's a semi-truck. And Harold Attinger is a very interesting character. Because he's like what Dylan was in Transformers 3. Just more advanced, if you will. Because he's got military operations and whatnot. I think I got Kelsey Grammer to play him, which is cool. And Ken Watanabe. Oh, Ken Watanabe is really good. And they got John Goodman, man. They got John Goodman in this. And that's really saying something. And when I'd rate this film, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, easy. Because it's like it's a good storyline, but it takes too long to develop things the way that you really want them to. And also Tessa's really hot, and that's really good. So there's always gotta be hot girls in this movie, in these movies, man. So I suppose we should talk about Transformers 5 now. Okay. Let's talk about Transformers 5. I really don't want to talk about Transformers 5. I really did not like Transformers 5. I will be honest, because it fucks up the whole fucking timeline. The entire timeline gets fucked up here. Get ready for this one. No, I'm gonna do the same thing. Read the excerpt. In 484 AD, King Arthur and his knights fight a losing battle against the Saxons. Merlin finds the Knights of Iacon, a group of Transformers hiding on Earth to help win the war. They hand him an alien staff and transform together into Dragonstorm and turn the tide of the battle, but warn Merlin to hide the staff, for a great evil will come for it someday. In the present, following the Hong Kong uprising, Optimus Prime arrives on a heavily damaged Cybertron, and meets Quintessa. She blames Optimus for Cybertron's destruction and brainwashes him, renaming him Nemesis Prime. and sends him back to Earth to retrieve Merlin's staff, which can absorb Earth's energy and restore Cybertron. On Earth, Transformers remain unwelcome among humanity and are hunted down by a paramilitary force called the TRF, the Transformers Reaction Force. The U.S. military, particularly those who had worked with the Transformers such as Colonel William Lennox and General Morshower, are secretly against the new policy. Cade Yeager, an ally to the Autobots, hides refugee Transformers in his junkyard in war-damaged Chicago. Cade, Bumblebee, young scavenger Isabella, and her Transformer companion Squeaks, who cannot retrieve a mechanical talisman from a dying Autobot knight. Cade has a brief standoff with the TRF and their leader Santos before being saved by Bumblebee, Lennox, and Hound. Megatron and the US government became aware of the talisman's value and power, reluctantly joined forces. The TRF released Mohawk, Dreadbot, Nitro Zeus, and Onslaught to aid in this mission. The Decepticons and the TRF locate Cade's hideout thanks to a tracker previously planted on Bumblebee. Grimlock and the Dinobots ambush a TRF convoy. His assistant Jimmy, Isabella, and Squeaks flee from the Decepticons and the TRF to an abandoned town where the Autobots ambush and defeat them. While Cade, Jimmy, and Isabella battle a unit of TRF drones, Cogman, a person-sized Transformer, appears and invites Cade to the United Kingdom to meet his employer, Sir Edmund Burton, who has connections to the Transformers. Burton asks another Transformer, Hot Rod, to find Vivian Wembley, a University of Oxford professor, and bring her to him. Bringing Cade, Vivian, and Bumblebee together, Burton explains that Transformers have been aiding mankind in war for centuries, their existence hidden by a secret society of famed historical figures, the Order of Witwiggins, of which he is the last living member. The talisman can lead to Merlin's staff, buried with him in a Cybertronian spacecraft hidden under the sea. Only a direct descendant of Merlin can wield it due to the Knights encoding his DNA into it, and Vivian is revealed as the last of Merlin's bloodline. M16, MI6, TRF. MI6, TRF, and local authorities discover them, forcing them to flee. Following a series of clues while evading their pursuers, the group head to the Royal Navy Museum, where they commandeer the museum submarine HMS Alliance, also a Transformer, to the spacecraft to find the spacecraft. The TRF and the U.S. Navy SEALs pursue them. Burton contacts Seymour Simmons, both learning that Earth is Unicron, and the staff will be used to drain the planet's life via an access point hidden under Stonehenge. Locating the ship, and Vivian discovers Merlin's tomb and obtaining the staff. Vivian activates it, causing the spacecraft to become airborne, awakening the Knights of Iacon, as the TRF and Navy SEALs, now under Lennox's leadership, try to take the staff from them. Nemesis Prime arrives, forcing the humans to surrender the staff. Bumblebee, Lennox, and Cade confront Nemesis, who engages in battle with Bumblebee. Just as Nemesis is about to finish him off, the formerly mute Bumblebee begins speaking in his own voice, rather than the radio, stirring Optimus's memories and freeing him from Quintessa's control. The Decepticons ambush Optimus and Cade and steal the staff from him. The Knights try to execute Optimus for his betrayal, but Cade stops them when his talisman transforms into Excalibur. The Knights yield and join the humans and Autobots. Burton tries to stop Megatron from activating the staff at Stonehenge, only to be mortally wounded. Meanwhile, Cybertron's remains collide with Earth, devastating the planet and killing millions. The Autobots, Dragonstorm, and human military forces coverage on Stonehenge and Cybertron, attacking the Decepticons and Quintessa's minions, who either flee or are killed while Quintessa is defeated by Optimus and Bumblebee. The worlds are saved when Vivian removes the staff and the Autobots leave Earth to rebuild what is left of Cybertron. Quintessa, who has survived and is disguised as a human, approaches a group of scientists inspecting one of Unicron's horns and offers them a way to destroy him. Just reading that plot line alone gave me a fucking headache. Like, that really hurt my head to read that. If I could rate this movie, I'd rate it a fucking 0. But I have to be fair here, so I'm gonna rate it a 1. As they ruin any negative impact. They ruin any negative feedback or impact on the movie by just throwing in a joke, like Hot Rod's French accent. Where the fuck did that come from? No one liked that. I can assure you no one liked that. Optimus being a bad guy, I mean, everyone wanted to see that, but they wanted to see that like 2-3 movies ago. And we almost got it when he blows fucking Sentinel's brains out. And I'm gonna have another smoke because that fucking hurt my head. But here's the thing. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong. Do I wish it didn't completely fuck up the timeline with that fucking King Arthur shit? Yeah. Because here's the problem that I have with it. If you go into the movie timeline, if you look up the timeline, from the very beginning, like, I get the primes coming to Earth in 17,000 BC. I get that. But it's when we get into this, because, to correct me if I'm wrong, but this is implying that all the Autobots that we know were already on Earth at the time. So say in 1940, Bumblebee, known as ZB7, was fighting in World War II. How the fuck is that possible when he comes to Earth in 2007? Optimus being at the Battle of, what was it? In the 60s. In 2007, the Autobots, Bumblebee, Ironhide, Ratchet, Optimus, and Jazz come to Earth. This was the movie that fucking almost took me out of Transformers completely. I don't get why they're still public enemies. I don't get that part either. I mean, they're coming to the Earth uninvited, yes. But also this is implying that this is their planet before it was ours. And Squeaks is just, cute. You can't go wrong with squeaks, man. I don't want us to talk about this movie too long. I'm going to talk about what I liked. I liked that they brought back Megatron, but I don't like the way they went about it. Yes, Galvatron got turned into Megatron. Yes, I get that part. But why is his voice should have reverted back to Hugo Weaving? No? I mean, Hugo Weaving was pretty much done with this fucking franchise by the third one. And I get that. But here's the part that fucking throws me off. Is why did he go for a knight look? He's not a knight, is he? Answer that in the comments, will you? Is Megatron a knight? I need to know. Because he went for like this knight gladiator. Well, I know he was a gladiator, but he was a gladiator in the Pits of Chaos. Now that I know. But why did he go for like a knight look and not a gladiator look? He went for a knight look. Probably to rival Optimus Prime's knight look. Which also, where the fuck did Optimus's knight look come from, and why didn't he have it throughout the whole damn franchise? The one thing I liked about Optimus's old mode was that you can tell where all the fucking truck bits go. In Optimus's new mode, you can't tell where truck pieces are. In Canopy, he was just there to fucking get killed. I'm gonna fucking rant about this film, and I don't want to. I really don't want to, because I'm gonna go on all day, and this video won't be done. So we're gonna call it a day here.
I've come for that staff.
Optimus, what are you doing?
Give it to me.
It's me, Kate. We fought together.
I fight for my own kind, my own planet.
This has been Alex Talks About Movies. Post your comments on movies you want me to talk about in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you like what you see here and you want to see more. Click that like if you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit longer than what you're normally wanting, but I wanted to do the whole franchise in one piece because the franchise is a whole now. And I'm pretty sure the franchise is fucking done. Unless, of course, they go out with, what's that new one that's set to come out? Transformers 6. They're referring to it as Bumblebee, but that's not it. The Rise of Unicron. If that movie comes out, I will review it in a later review. But it's looking like they're just going to reset the whole damn thing. As Michael Bay left the franchise. Thank God for that. But he was also the executive producer of Bumblebee, was he not? Now that I need to know. Yes, Michael Bay. And that's pretty much how that went. At the end of this video, I'm going to have all my favorite scenes all in one freaking piece. of each movie. So if you like it, hit subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
You gotta save my asses! I brought the troops, man. I brought the troops.
Knights, Autobots, this cannot and will not be the end. To save Earth and her people, we are going to steal Quintessa's staff. Only you, Vivian, can take it back. I will lead the way into her chamber. And when the account of the ages is etched into the cosmos, let those who exist long after us know that this was our finest hour.
No. We need a truce. All I want is to be back in charge. Besides, who would you be without me, Prime?
Time to find out. Autobots, I'm in pursuit. You all know there's only one way to end this war. We must destroy the cube. If all else fails, I will unite it with the spark in my chest.
That's suicide. The cube is raw power. It could destroy you both.
A necessary sacrifice to bring peace to this planet. We cannot let the humans pay for our mistakes. It's been an honor serving with you all. Autobots, roll out!
We roll.
We're not your technology. The world will know what you're doing here. It's time for reinforcements. Recognize one of your knights.